Welcome everyone to the infomercial for CM691 Grief Counseling. I'm Dr. Lori Soli, and I am one of the instructors who teaches the grief counseling class, which is one of my true loves and passions. Today I also have with me Asia Mack, who is a student in the program who has taken the grief counseling class. And I also have a pre-recorded segment in Blue Jeans from Katie Decker-Fisk, another student who has also taken the CM691 class. We are going to talk to you collectively today about why you should consider taking the grief counseling class as an elective. I'm going to start us out, and I'm going to say that you should consider taking the CM691 class because it's a great class. It's also something that I promise you will use throughout your counseling career. It's important also to frame grief counseling to consider and really remember that this is not just teaching you to work with losses associated with a death, because grief spans so many things other than losses from a death. And this class will really help you understand that and be able to work around those things. Clinically speaking, grief really underlies a tremendous number of presenting client issues. Oftentimes clients do not come in presenting with grief, but when we start to dig and when we start to explore with them, there's a lot of grief that may be unresolved within their histories, and it can really play a significant impact in their not only their presenting roles but in their mental health altogether. Clinicians really need to have a comfort in working with clients who are in grief, who are at different stages of the grieving process. And many simply are not, particularly if they have not had the opportunity to take a class such as this one. This course really provides the students with the opportunity to explore their own beliefs and experiences around grief, as well as offering strategies for working with clients who are grieving and creating a final project that is tailored to what you would like to do in terms of offering that out to students or to clients in the future. So Asia, what about you? What are some of the reasons from the student's perspective you feel like this is a class students should take?
I believe that this is an elective that students should take because it really gives a great foundation to understanding how grief is not just, as you mentioned, when someone dies, but it's a whole host of different loss experiences that could come up and most likely will come up with the clients that you're seeing as you move into your practicum and internship. And also, it'll really give you a strong understanding of how loss can change a client's worldview or perspective of their life. And I believe that this class actually gave me the most solid understanding of that than all of the classes that I've taken. And I've carried that with me, not just with my clients, but also with myself. And my third reason for believing that you should take this class is because I do believe that the final project will give you something tangible that you actually can use as you move into your field work. And for me, that was a grief intervention that I created for children who have an incarcerated parent. And it's a board game, and the process of me creating that board game has led well beyond the class. So for me, getting it copywritten to presenting it at conferences and even getting to use it with clients at my site, I just believe that has been a truly invaluable experience, and it all started with me taking this class as my elective. So I strongly encourage anyone who's thinking about it to go ahead and register.
Thank you, Asia. You know, you bring up a really important point, and I also just wanted to really bring this up too. And you know, you mentioned how loss can really change a client's worldview and how that was really something that was stressed in the class. The other thing that I would just mention, and I'm just going to get your input on this as well, is, you know, grief really is a culturally bound construct as well. And so it's helpful, I would imagine, within the course of the class to be able to do some exploration around that and how different cultural groups, how that plays out, how grief plays out in those different groups.
Yeah, I definitely agree. And I think, when you have an when you have an opportunity to explore how grief manifests in different cultures, you also begin to take a look at how you view grief yourself. And then,
Mhm.
there's a lot of reflection that comes along with, well, what loss experiences have I had in my life and how have I dealt with them? And I think that's really important as a counselor in training, because part of what we're doing is not just learning our clinical skills, but also, working through some of the things that may actually come up for us when we're with clients. So I think having that opportunity to explore that is also available in class, and it can give you a more solid understanding of your own cultural reaction to grief. And for me, I know it solidified some things for me that maybe actually differs from my family. And so all of that is valuable insight.
Great. Thanks, Asia. So we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play Katie here now. And here we are.
Why should you take the grief counseling elective? Well, if you think about it, grief is universal, going to touch everyone at some point in their life, and oftentimes at multiple points in their life. So it's unique in that it's applicable to every single client you will ever have. And it's more than just sitting in a room while someone cries. There's more tips and tricks to it than that. So the class is really beneficial. For instance, I've already used some of the techniques that I've learned in class in real life with my clients at my internship site. And the intervention tool, like informational packet that I created for the final project in the grief counseling class, I've also already used that on several occasions and in several different settings. So if it were up to me, it would be a requirement and everyone would have.
Thank you, Katie, even though she's not here to actually receive my thank you. And to be fair, I would also actually agree with Katie. To me, it should be a required course. Of course, I don't get to make the rules. Grief and loss is a passion for me. It was one of the most valuable classes that I took. It was also grief. The way that grief is taught in counselor education programs was actually the topic of my dissertation. So, and something that I'm planning on doing, redoing a study for in the next year to hopefully try to get KPREP to understand the importance of this. So I look forward to potentially seeing some of you in class through the years as you hopefully take the class. Thank you again, Asia. Thank you so much for being here. And also thanks to Katie for presenting and helping to make this infomercial. Thanks, everyone. Bye.